Howdy, how do you doing YouTube? Today we're back with a brand new video. So today's video, um, it's actually a two-part video. This first one, I'm going to show you how to set beads and prepare around a chimney for reskimming. And then the video for next week will be me actually reskimming this room. You can see me setting the beads on. So always when you're setting beads, you're going to want to set the head bead first. You can see here that I'm starting with the leg beads. The reason for this is there actually isn't a head bead going on this. I'm not sure you can see, but there's like a white curtain rail. It's just above and it's blocking the head, so I actually can't put a bead on the head. So I'll just go ahead and put it on the legs. So what you can see is I've measured the bead. I then put my level till the bead, and then I check the margin. You can see here I'm using a stapler. This is just a Stanley stapler. I find it's probably the best. You could probably, I think there's like electric ones and stuff, but I haven't tried them yet. I will, and I'll probably do a review on it when I finally do buy one, but I like this hand stapler. So here you can see, I'm going to talk you through it. I measure the length of the bead that I need. You want to make sure to get it right, that it's perfect size. You don't cut it short. And it's important to put your head bead on first, because then it gives you something to measure to make sure that you have the right size. What you'll see is I'm going to offer the bead up till the wall. And then I'll get my big level. And what I'm going to do is level it. I'll put the level on the wall and make sure that it's flush down the whole length of the level. Once I've done this, I know it's straight that way. You can just take a smaller level and level the other way, but I'll take a tape measure and I'll check the margin. So that's just a measurement between the bead and the window. It has to be the same the whole way down, or your bead can sort of look off, obviously, because you haven't made that space the whole way down. And you can see here I'm just hammering home the staples. Some walls of staples will go right into, and there's walls like this where it'll go halfway into, and then this wall here you'll see I have to staple about 5 or 6 times because the stapler wouldn't push a staple in at all. So what I've done is I've measured the so from the edge of the window till the edge of the wall, the space that's going to be plastered, and it's the same the whole way down. So what we can do is we can just offer the bead up, and as long as we keep it level, as long as we just keep it tight on the wall, we don't actually even need to use a level. You'll see here that I use a level just to keep the outside edge straight. It's best practice. You would just see here the staples don't actually hold as well this time. There's actually a few different ways you can set beads. So one of them's the stapler, obviously what I'm doing. If you're going on the plasterboard, you can use nails. And then if you don't want to use 8 or 2 of them, you can actually set them with either bonding or skim. You'll see here in a minute when I'm doing around the fireplace that I actually set the beads for the fireplace opening in bonding. And that was just because I had to build it out. And my preferred method is the staple. These are sink staples, so they're not going to rust. You're not going to have to come back and take them out because they've all rusted out. they'll last as long as the bead will last, sort of thing. So I'll just check it this way and make sure that it's level on the outside edge, because it'll catch your eye here. But the inside edge we don't actually need to level, as long as I keep it tight. You'll see here I measure. As long as I keep it tight to the wall here, the margin will be the same. Yeah. So if you're going to be setting your beads in bonding or skim, you have to keep in mind, if you're going to leave it more than sort of a day, that you're going to have to come back and PVA the bonding or the skim, whatever you set it with. That's just to make sure that when you're skimming over the beads, that the bonding or the skim, whatever it is that you use, doesn't actually dry out your new plaster and leave a sort of bumpy edge. This was a pretty big job. I beaded it and prepped it. It took me about a half a day. Brought all the skimming stuff in, got my water ready, and then came back and skimmed it in one day. It took me from, I think I arrived at about 8:30 and I was there till just after 5. So it was a big enough hit. Luckily enough, no ceiling, just walls. You'll see in the next video, there's like cornicing and stuff on the ceiling, and it's really it is a beautiful ceiling. So we've just done the same thing here. We've put our beads on, so that's that bit ready. I've already set a bead on the left hand side of the chimney breast, but I've basically set up so that I can set this other bead. So when you're setting big full length beads like this, this is a bit bigger. This is like a 2.4 bead, and you'll see it's just short. The 2.4 bead is like, I think it's like a half, maybe 150 mil short. You can see here the staples go imperfect. So what we'll do is we'll put a couple of staples to hold it tight at the top. We'll put our level in and we'll fasten it halfway down, turn the level, check and make sure it's good the other way, halfway down, and then put staples in the middle. After we'll do that, I think we hammer our staples home so they stick out just a tiny bit, but if you don't hammer them in, they actually do show through the skim. So just make sure always hammer them in. And then you'll see here we get our level, and we'll work from about halfway, just above halfway. You'll see I'm gonna cut the bead that goes here, and then we're gonna put the level about halfway up. I could actually run out of staples here, but you can see the way we've set it halfway up. We want it to be the same level the whole way down, and there we've run out of staples, so you can see we're just hammering them home again, same thing, and then we check it the other way. We make sure the bubble's level, and as long as the bubble's level, you keep your beads tight to the edge, and it's going to leave it straight every time. So now we're on till the prep of this chimney breast. So basically what we want to do is anything that we're going to bond, we're going to use PVA first. I originally was just going to bond these bits that you see me PVAing, but I end up mix some extra stuff up, and I bond the whole face of the chimney. It was just to keep it as straight as possible. You can't really see it here, but there's about an inch gap from the old plaster till the brick. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to just fill that out. So we've got our bonding. This is just bonding on its own. Nothing else in it. A couple of handfuls of skim just to help it actually spread easier. So we get our bonding, and we want to try to keep our trowel as straight and flat as we can. We're going to use the edge of the old plaster as a guide, keeping our trowel flat and that, and that's going to give us the ability to keep it straight. This obviously does take a bit of practice. If you're doing this for the first time, it's not gonna be, perfect. So you may have to play with it a bit. But as you can see, like just a few coats and we're done. And it's the same thing here. We're just filling it and we're just leaving it slightly proud. We're just leaving about 2, maybe a couple of mil access bonding. All that really does is allow us to come with the straight edge next and get a nice straight flat surface. They weren't really sure what they were going to do with the inside of this fireplace, so what we've done is we've just set some beads on the edge, and then when the firefighter comes, it's just a case of him pulling the beads off and finishing whatever way that he needs to finish. Preferably I would have liked to finish the inside for them too, but they weren't sure whether they were going to leave it bare brick or tiles or some fire resistant plaster maybe. So now we've got our straight edge, and we're going to use the existing wall till the side and above at an angle. We're going to basically just straighten this bonding. We're going to go both ways on it. We're just taking all the access off, as you can see, and again we're just taking any excess plaster off. We want it straight. We want to make sure that our bonding's sitting behind our bead level. You can see there, I'll come back then and I'll sort of flatten the edges down, and all I'm doing there is making sure that the bonding's back behind the level of the beads. I'm going to do the same here. I think at some stage I've knocked the bead there. You can see it's slightly off, but I do eventually fix that. You can still see it sitting off. I think it's, I fixed it. So now we're just going to cut the edge of the plaster so it's straight, because we don't want to leave any excess here, because we're obviously going to stick our beads till the corner. Ideally, what really should have been done would be a skim and stop bead, but I was unsure of what was going to happen, so I just used regular beads. And then you're going to see this wall's been PVA'd. It was actually really bad suction on this wall, and it was probably one of the reasons why I actually decided to go ahead and bond it out. Obviously the chimney breast walls, because of the fire being lit in them, and these are pretty old houses. These would be pre-Second World War houses, so just hundreds of years of the chimney being hot, and it just leaves real bad suction, and the suction was bad on the face. You can see here I'm putting the stuff on and troweling it straight away, and it's sort of turn. You can see it turn there, and that's just because the suction was so bad. Ideally, if you knew that the suction was going to be this bad, what you would do would be get yourself some SBR. Mix your SBR up and let it completely set, or get yourself one of the pre-grits, blue grit, green grit. I think there's like a Bondit or something it's called, and it's basically just SBR with sand through it, is what it is realistically. I'm just going to tidy in and make sure that there's no build up over the beads. once we actually do this, then we're gonna move on to scratch this wall. So I do this, if I was to skim this today, the same day, I wouldn't be scratching it, but because I'm going to come back tomorrow, I'm just going to scratch some lines into this. It just gives me that little bit more extra adhesion. You know, it's the same as when you scratch sand cement, basically same thing. So now you can see it all scratched up. We're gonna set our beads. So I do this by eye. I would advise, if you were going to do this, to do it with your level. I've been doing it that long now, sort of, I can eye beads up, basically. But if you're going to do it, use your level for sure. So we put our head bead on, like I was mentioning earlier, and then we put our two legs. You see, I have to mess about with this one. There's like an old hearth that's going to be took out, but it was sort of left there, so a bit of fiddling about needed done. And what we're going to do is we're just going to set our bead, and after we set our bead, we're going to check with our trowel to make sure that there's no that there's a gap between the trowel and the bonding. That means that we can get it nice and straight. When we put our skim on, you'll see I'm going to check up the edge, and then we'll do the same on the other leg. But basically, that's going to be it for this video. As I say, the next video is this room being re-skimmed. Well, almost all of it except for one wall. So thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed, hit the thumbs up. Check out social medias. Searching our Plastering on Instagram, Facebook, and also TikTok. I hope you enjoyed this week's video. I'll see you in the next one.